RJ Hampshire, Anaheim 1 winner. How's that sound? That's got to be cool, right?
Man, it's awesome. So much goes into this that no one sees. And I'm sure they've seen a lot of my career, the ups and downs. So they see a bit how special tonight was. Huge kind of statement for myself, for this team, whole brand, and just awesome start to the season.
It's never an easy win, but was it nice that after halfway-ish, those guys started battling with each other, you got a little bit of a gap and you could kind of manage it from there?
Yeah, I knew I was strong in the whoops all day, so kind of took it easy the rest of the track and got my gap there in the whoops. And I hit that like 8-second mark on the lead and just kind of managed it from there. You know, I was nervous with that red cross. The one lap I did triple in, and the red cross is right there. Dude, I locked up both brakes. I'm like, oh my gosh, please tell me I did not triple in. But it was just in a weird spot, like where that flag was.
Yeah.
Like, usually it doesn't happen, right after you 3 in and it's the next jump. Like they would do it off the beginning of it. So yeah, man, just kind of a weird thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just got my Anaheim 1 win taken away from me. Like that crossed my mind. So luckily, after that, I went to roll. Like I made sure I was like, hey, look, I did not mean to do it if I did do it. But yeah, overall, just awesome night. Stoked for this team. Stoked for kind of everybody that's believed in me along the road.
Can you talk a little bit about how the day felt, the evolution of the track, and then what you felt about the bike as it changed as well throughout the day?
Yeah, like I said, I'm stoked on my bike. We didn't change much all day.
Okay.
Just a little bit of sag here and there, clickers. I was really fast in practice, but I didn't hit that rhythm all day where you really on, off, and it was like literally a half second. So I knew I was riding good, felt really good everywhere else. Overall, man, just had that feeling today. Kind of knew it was going to come, and luckily cards fell in my hands.
You talked about that weird rhythm and not doing it most of the day. What do you have to do to kind of like pull the trigger mentally on something like that and just say like, all right, I'm doing it this lap or whatever?
So I kind of had a plan to try it that second practice the second time, and I did try it, and I about looped it out big time, full on loop off it. And I was like, all right, well, I'm not doing that. And then I laid down the next lap, like, dude, it was the fastest I could possibly go with the lap I was, like, with the track I was on. And I came by and I was P2, and I'm like, dude, like, all right, there's got to be something else. And then sure enough, I seen Kitch was, wheeling on, and dude, it was literally half second. So I was like, all right, get a decent start in the heat race and do it my way once, and then kind of feel it out. So I learned it fast as soon as it happened. Yeah, was a solid from there. And then I seen the 450 guys jumping from the inside onto the plateau and then getting off. And I talked to Nate. I was like, hey, like, what do you think? And he's like, no, stick with what you just started.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, solid for the main though. Like I said, I just had my spots, focused on those, and pulled a big enough gap where we kind of had a solid finish there.
Ready to put some red plates on?
Man, red plates sound good, especially the 24. So, man, I was stoked for it. So we'll see you guys at San Fran.
All right, Jordon Smith, well, second on the night. Overall, I feel like you probably just would rather a start. That's the only thing you would change about tonight, right?
Yeah, and I really didn't even come out that bad. I had a pretty decent start, but you really had to stay inside because it was 2 right-handers. So if you got pushed out in the first one, you're going to get passed by like 4 guys in the next one. And RJ came up the inside of me, and we got together pretty good. We almost went down, and then I got together with someone else too. So it was. But from there, it kind of took me a few laps to kind of get in the groove and get going. But I think about midway through, like, a lot of guys started getting a little tired, and I was still feeling good, so kept pushing. And then it was a bummer with the red cross flag out. We kind of had to lose that flow. We couldn't do that rhythm anymore, and it was kind of just a weird race the last half of it.
Yeah, can you talk about that early intensity, trying to get yourself settled a little bit, but you have guys right behind you, you guys are trying to catch, like, it was really close.
Yeah, this track was kind of weird too. Off the start, you came down those straightaways, and like the fast line is to just go outside and just rip it, but there was so much room here, like more than I remember ever at like a Supercross, able to come up the inside of the turns.
Yeah,
like you could almost head-on collision people like coming out of the turns if you wanted to be that aggressive, But it was you had to really. It was a hard track to race because you really had to be focused on guys behind you whenever you're trying to make passes in front of you. So it's kind of like a bummer deal, but it was good.
Anaheim is always a little bit weird, so I know second isn't a win, but does it kind of feel a little bit like, okay, I got out of here, I got good points, now we can really go racing?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's no matter how good the off season is, you always are nervous going into round one and where you stack up. You know, the track's going to shape up different than practice, and are you going to be good in it and stuff. So no, I'm happy with second. Obviously, I'd love to win. I mean, that would be a bucket list, you know, a check off the bucket list is to win A1.
Yeah.
But you know, maybe another time. But I'll take second tonight.
There's a lot of talk about Star having a replica of this track at the facility. How close was it in the end and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, dirt's completely different, right?
Yeah.
It's red clay. It shapes up way different. It's you know, we've had it for probably a month and a half, I would say, or so, and it just, you know, rain and everything, it gets it beat down. So somewhat similar, but at the end of the day, didn't feel that similar. So yeah, it kind of felt more similar like in press day.
Okay.
But then once we started doing like the lines that we did today, it wasn't even close to what we do at practice. So it was kind of just is what it is.
Levi Kitchen, A1. How was your weekend?
It was pretty good. Qualifying was nice for me. I'm normally not up there, so that was nice to beat P1. And then heat race was a little bit of a disaster. Ended up crashing, but managed to make it in. And then had a pretty bad gate pick for the main, but sent it from the inside, came out good. And then I'm trying to remember actually. I think I was out front for a second. Julian got around me, and yeah, I panicked from there. I tightened up. People were going by me left and right, so it kind of sucked to go backwards for a little bit, but you know, I regrouped about halfway through, got into third, and then yeah, at that point I think everybody was kind of where they were. But gonna go to work this week and kind of maybe fine-tune a couple things on the bike, and I think next week will be better.
Since you said you don't qualify that great typically, when you qualified fastest, did you feel a little bit more pressure to perform in the races since you were first gate pick and the fastest on the track?
Maybe a little bit, yeah. I mean, the heat race is always, the track's smooth, everybody's going to go fast, so it's kind of dictated on the start at times. And still got a decent start, but I think I just forced the issue too soon. And I was, you know, like I panicked. I did the same thing in the main event. I need to relax and let the race come to me.
You battled with Max a lot in that one. Is it awkward to battle with a teammate, especially a new teammate, or was it really not a concern?
No, I'm not too concerned about it. I mean, yeah, we're teammates, and it can be awkward if you go back to the rig or something happens, but at the end of the day, we're both racing for a paycheck, and you know, it is what it is. So, and there was nothing wrong with how he rode or how I rode, so I like battling, and he was riding great tonight.
I know when you came into that section with the red flag, you like doubled into it on that first lap, and I think you were good, but are you worried at all about maybe getting a penalty for like doubling into that section, or are you pretty confident that it's no big deal?
No, I'm not too worried. The Red Cross was after the first three jumps, I guess you could say. So, yeah, I mean, and then every time after that I made sure I was past the bike, and it kind of got Max because he rolled and like kept rolling the section.
Yeah.
And once I got past the bike, I jumped, you know, onto the table and then off, and ended up hitting him in the turn. So, yeah, that's always a tricky thing to kind of figure out, but I'm sure there's a bunch of people over there right now trying to figure things out. So, no, I think I'll be okay.
Cool. Any major changes on the bike moving into next week?
Yeah, a little bit. I'll probably just tweak with the setup, the suspension and stuff, and get a little bit more comfortable, because it's one thing, you feel like a hero at the practice track, but you get here and, you know, it breaks down totally different, so change a lot of stuff.